Most of the stuff was actually firmware updates, so it didn't really have a whole lot of effect of operations or anything along that line. Most of it was all internal updates. However, during that process, there were things that I wanted to make changes to that would make it easier for us to be able to use the radios functionality wise. So one of the things is that as soon as you turn the radio on and you look at the screen, and when you watch the screen, it will flash and tell you what apparatus that radio is designated to and what position. So it will say, engine 3 captain, or engine 3 firefighter 1, engine 3 firefighter 2. That way we can just kind of do a little bit better being able to keep track of the portables, because a lot of these little tags are wearing off and what have you. So that's one of the new features. One of the big key things that we changed was the functionality of the emergency button. So with us utilizing in the fireground channel, previously the emergency button, when you would push and hold the emergency button, it would revert back to KFD dispatch, which is horrible. That's not what we want. So I changed it so that it will revert to fireground 1. So in the event that you fall through a floor or you get trapped or whatever the circumstance is, even if you accidentally in that process bump the channel selector to whatever, when you push and hold the emergency button down and it goes into emergency mode, it automatically goes to fireground 1 and will stay there. All of your transmissions and receiving will be done on fireground 1 once that emergency button is set. I changed the time delay on the for the emergency button as well. You don't have to push and hold it for as long as you used to. You push it, hold it for about 3 seconds, and that's it. And that goes for the lapel mic emergency as well. Push, hold it for about 3 seconds, and it's activated. So when that emergency goes off, it will obviously set off a audible tone on the portable to let you know that emergency has been activated. Then everyone else's radio will have that audible tone go across it. Dispatch will light up literally like a Christmas tree. All of the consoles will light up, and it will now say, engine 3 captain, or rescue 1 firefighter 1. It now will tell even dispatch what unit that is that pushed the emergency. Beforehand, if you pushed the emergency, they didn't know whose it was or anything. Now they'll actually know, okay, this is whose it is. It's designated to that radio. And then all of your transmissions will stay on that until you actually physically turn the radio off, let it power down, and then turn it back on. When it does the repower cycle, that's what actually deactivates the emergency. So it's not just a, oh, I pushed it and oops, and now I pushed it again. No, it's legitimately emergency only. The other features that I changed on it were the channel announcements. So, when you power the radio up and then it goes through its power up procedure, it will tell you obviously that it's the Kokomo fire zone, and then it will tell you what channel you're on. So when you change the channel,
fireground 1,
it actually tells you what
fireground 2.
That's actually telling you
EMS dispatch.
what it is, instead of how
Howard County Fire Dispatch.
before you just, every time you'd either have to look at the radio or just count the clicks and hope you were about right. The other thing that I done was,
fireground 2.
so on the side over here, this big round button, if you're in any doubt or whatever, you can just reach down and push that big round button, and it will tell you
Kokomo Fire Zone, fireground 2.
what channel you're on. So you don't even have to pull the radio out and look at it. Just feel for that big button.
Kokomo Fire Zone. EMA 4. Kokomo Fire Zone. EMA 4.
And it will tell you what channel that is.
City Fires.
Some of the channels I did kind of rearrange them so that it's more user friendly for us. For example, you go through and you've got KFD dispatch, then Fireground 1 and 2,
Fireground 2.
and then you've got
EMS dispatch.
EMS dispatch. You know, to me, EMS dispatch is something that we kind of lack using. A lot of times, you may be, responding, or a medic unit calls you for lifting assistance, and then, you get on the radio and you're like, dispatch, will you ask so-and-so if they need a signal 10 or whatever. I mean, hell, just turn the radio to EMS dispatch and get on there. And, engine 3 to medic 1, do you need a signal 10? And then they can tell you. It kind of cuts out the dispatcher, so they're not being the middleman, so to speak. So then there's EMS dispatch, then county fire.
County Fire dispatch.
So that if we're going to assist any of the county fire units, it's close there. Then you've got training, and then
Howard County Backup Fire.
Channel 7 is our backup channel. And there was a little bit of a misunderstanding, and I guess kind of more of like lack of communication when it comes to the backup channel. So if we're told by dispatch that we need to go to the backup channel, all you have to do is turn your knob 6 clicks. 6 clicks, and that puts you on channel 7, and it says fire backup channel on it. You don't have to go through and unlock anything. You don't have to go through and scroll through different zones or any of that bullshit. I change it to where it's simplistic, 6 clicks, you're on the backup channel. That's all there is to it. And it tells you when you go to the backup channel. Okay.
Howard County Fire dispatch. Howard County Backup Fire.
So there it tells you, that you're on the backup fire. And went through also when you get towards
EMA 4.
towards the back end of your channel selections, you've got EMA 4, which is the helicopter channel, to be able to talk directly with the helicopter. The ATAC 93,
93.
that's the secondary helicopter channel. Sometimes, depending upon which helicopter it is and depending upon what kind of radio traffic is going on, that could be the secondary channel that you may be asked to go to be able to talk to the helicopter.
Tipton County Fire
Then you've
dispatch.
got Tipton County Dispatch. That channel is directly to Tipton County Dispatch. So if we get dispatched to Tipton County for anything, you can flip your radio to that, and
Tipton County Medic Ambulance on scene.
you'll be able to talk directly with their units that are there and their dispatch. Same thing goes with Carroll Dispatch, Miami Dispatch,
County Fire dispatch.
and then you've got Sheriff Dispatch, which is our Howard County Sheriff Dispatch, and then you've got KPD.
KPD Patrol Zone.
And one of the things also that I made a change on the radio is that every channel that's in there, you can key up and talk on. Before, there were channels in there, for example, Sheriff Dispatch, even KPD, that it was in there, but it was designated receive only. Well, to me, if you only have it in receive only, you're only utilizing half the fucking purpose of the whole radio itself. So I changed it to where you can transmit on those channels. So if an engine company's out and you're on a scene and it gets funky and you want KPD there, you grab your selector and crank that son of a gun all the way till it stops. You're on KPD dispatch and you can talk directly with the police. Instead of doing the engine 3 Kokomo, is KPD en route? Do I got somebody come? This is getting nasty. And then again, that dispatcher's got to turn and be like, hey, a car en route. So you can actually be able to transmit and talk on there. And other than that, the only other thing that's new is that I programmed them with a minimum volume. So the minimum volume set at 25. So if you even bump your radio and your volume knob goes all the way down, it's still at a,
Kokomo Fire Zone.
it's still at a level
APD Patrol Zone.
that you can hear it, you know, especially with lapel mic on.
340, 1020 close.
So, you know, the volume right now, it's turned all the way down, but yet you can still hear, you know, something, rather than if you turn that knob down before, all the way down, you wouldn't hear anything at all. So, other than that, that's all the updates.